Welcome to another Cleverly Changing podcast. This is season 2, episode 14. Thank you for joining us. If you have been enjoying the Cleverly Changing podcast, please tell a friend so they can tune in too. Our proverb for today is, where you will sit when you are old shows where you stood in youth. Where you will sit when you are old shows where you stood in youth. So listen up, everybody. We are talking about starting a new school year and really how to get our kids excited about learning. So stay tuned for a great show. It's now time for the word of the episode.
Mwanzo is Swahili for at the beginning. As you begin this new school year, the Cleverly Changing podcast would like to wish you a wonderful journey, many new discoveries, and excellent progress.
This is Cleverly Cultured Kids!
So we are back and we're talking about school. So it's school time again. Are you girls excited?
Woo, fun. I'm anxious.
All right. So we have some questions for you. Has the new school year been different? We're about a week into school. So has it been any different than last year? If so, how?
It's been different. It's most of the week. I don't like that it's most of the week, but it's fine.
When you say it's most of the week, are you saying this is school is most of the week? What is most of the week? Education? Can you kind of elaborate?
School is most of the week.
Well, technically it's a co-op.
It's not a co-op.
It's a co-op.
No, it's not.
It's a co-op.
Right. So you have to kind of describe, say that you're going to a co-op now.
It's not a co-op.
It's a co-op.
Okay, so what do you call it, Layla?
A school.
All right. So how often do you go to school and what do you do? What's different about it?
I go from Tuesday to Friday. From Tuesday to Friday, and I have a variety of classes.
What are some of the classes that you're taking?
Cooking, sewing, math, more math.
More math.
Fractions and decimals.
Ecology.
Ecology.
Art.
What are we doing once?
JavaScript.
That's not a class.
But that's not necessarily a class. It's
That's
kind
just-
of a coding class that mainly focuses on JavaScript.
World
on the weekend, so it
cultures. World cultures.
If it's on the weekend, then it doesn't count as school.
Well,
True that.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
Extra.
I'll have to remember that for later. We'll do some more things on the weekends, and
No.
it's not school because it's Saturday.
Clever.
Okay.
So you're taking classes outside of home, and that's something that's new for you.
It's fun. I like it, but because the school day is only anywhere from 3 to 5 hours. It's 3 to 5 hours. Yes.
Okay.
And most schools are 7 hours.
All right. So what are you liking about this school year so far?
I like that I'm using a website this year for most of my stuff, and I'm starting co-op again, and I think I'm doing sewing this year.
So what online curriculum are you using?
Funcation.
And is Funcation true to its name? Is it fun?
Sometimes.
So what?
Companies be lying.
Why you lying?
So what is?
Why you lying?
Why you always lying?
Why you lying?
So what is fun about Funcation? Is it a certain subject? That's fun.
Yeah, so there's a separate part where you can do like other little class things.
Like electives?
Yeah.
So can you give us the name of one so that we can understand?
They're called fun clubs. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
The fun club?
Yeah.
Why does everything have fun in its name?
Because it's called Funcation.
Because it's funcation.
So
Branding.
Branding, Layla.
Got
Branding.
Hashtag branding.
I mean it.
so can you kind of describe a fun club so we can get a better picture of what it means?
So one of them is chess.
I like chess.
So like you can learn how to play chess. And another one of them is music, where you learn how to do music and stuff. And yeah,
I'm confused. How do you learn?
there's a lot more, but I can't name them right off the top of my head.
I'm slightly confused. How do you learn chess and music on the computer? I think I know about chess, but music, I'm
Layla,
confused.
There's online chess. There's apps that have chess in them.
Well, there is. I don't know how the music thing works. Oh, Quaver. I used to use that when I was in school.
What?
Those are the resources, not the fun clubs. The fun clubs are right now art, Lego, and what's the third one? Art, Lego, and
Chess? Was it? No. I don't know.
Sign?
we'll have to get back to you on that. It'll be in the show notes.
Okay.
But that sounds fun. So I know that she's taken a chess class this year, and are you learning how to play chess?
No, that's not something I'm doing.
Oh,
Well-
okay. So have you done one of the fun clubs yet?
No, not yet.
tomorrow.
Do you get to do them anytime you want, or are they assigned? Like, are they only available if your parent allows it, or can you just say, ooh, I want to do the fun club right now?
That I do not know. Probably, maybe you can just do it whenever you want.
It's 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And you can go, any student can log in and participate in the fun club. We haven't done it yet. They just started it this week. They were advertising for it last week.
So are the classes live, the fun clubs? Oh, so you have to log in at a certain time. It's
Right.
not. Okay.
That's like the mapping
like
that
a
we did?
Zoom class.
That sounds exciting. That it's do you get to Skype? Like, can you see the people too?
You can see, you can hear, you can submit your student submissions.
Wait, so does that mean that I have to look presentable?
I've gone to a Zoom club in a bathroom.
Well, you should look presentable. Yes. I don't think that'll be a problem for you.
Yeah.
Will it?
Maybe.
I don't know.
This last week I got to make fruit kebabs in my class.
Ooh, that sounds yummy.
It was in cooking. Yeah, I don't know.
So you said that you got to make fruit kebabs. Was that your favorite thing that you did in your new classes?
That was the only thing I did that in that class. Probably. Maybe. I like sewing though.
Sewing is your favorite so
We didn't
far.
do anything last week except for the only thing I really did was basic little stuff.
Right, because it was your first week and it was the introduction week. But that's the class that you're looking forward to the most?
Sewing.
Sewing is peaceful.
I
I've
like
got a
sewing.
question though.
You like it too.
They have Wi-Fi there, and I would like to listen to Spotify and stuff, but I don't know if I can do that.
So while he's Spotify,
Spotify and so.
But I think
you're not gonna be able to do that just yet because
Right.
you got to be able to get the instruction and hear, you know, how to make your stitches and the seams and to get all the sewing vocabulary down. Yeah. But when you're practicing at home, which reminds me, I have to get you a sewing machine.
no, that's fine. So that is going to be the new electives that they're taking. I also want to bring up, like, for parents who, really want their kids to do different things, electives is a great way to add some fun to the class. And so finding out your kids' interests and letting them do some fun classes will make the school day better. So are there any classes that you're not taking so far, but you do want to take maybe next semester or next year?
Not that I can think of right now.
Ceramics.
Ceramics, yes!
Ceramics. That is a class with Tom Hooey.
For ceramics. Ceramics.
All right, so I love to hear all of the excitement in all of your voices. It sounds like you're really looking forward to the school year. It sounds like Funcation offers a lot of different choices. I didn't really realize it was live, and so that makes it much more engaging than just a regular online class. So that's awesome. And it's very reasonably priced. So if you go to the show notes, we will definitely put more information in there about that. And we are wrapping it up. So thank you guys for tuning in. And remember to share this podcast with a friend. Welcome back to season 2. This is our second episode of the season, and today we are talking about homeschooling and how to transition into a new year. So the new year is starting for us, and we're going to share a little bit of tidbits about what worked, what didn't. And if you have any questions, remember you can send us questions at cleverlychanging@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. So find us there at Cleverly Changing. All right, so let's get started into the topic. So welcome to a new year. How is it going for you?
So far so good, actually. I'm glad to report there have been no tears and gnashing of teeth. It's good.
So that's great. So for us, we haven't really got into the nitty gritty yet. We've done a couple of math, some math, and we've done some study skills because they're a little bit older. My kids are entering middle school, like traditional middle school years. So I felt like it was helpful for them to start taking notes and learning, how to study in, not just for the homeschool, realm, but eventually you're going to have to leave that. So I need to start giving you those techniques that will transfer over. So
Study skills, I like that. I hadn't gotten my head there yet. I need to get there.
So what does study skills entail for us? That is teaching them how to organize.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping a binder, how to separate your subjects, how to write down assignments, is really how to kind of take ownership in the style and the organization and system of learning, the whole system behind it. It's also teaching them how to organize their notes so that they know how they can study from them, how they can learn better. So it's learning how to use maybe highlighters, multiple pens, just color coding different things, and really kind of using their learning style and teaching them how to make that learning style work for them. So that's one of the ways, and teaching them mnemonics. So it's really what you may have been doing already, but it's having more of an intentional and a certain so not only are you being intentional about the mnemonics you use, but you're choosing mnemonics that are based on their actual learning styles. Or you're choosing, whatever you're doing is based on that child and how they learn best. So that's really what we're starting. And we actually, so today we did a video, and I had them take notes on the video, and the video was called Study Skills. So in the show notes, I will put a link to it in the show notes, because my girls, it was so cute because they were like, "Mom, this video looks like it's gonna be whack," or they just weren't too excited about it. And one of my daughters was like, "Mom, this is cringy," like when it first started, and it's a little bit like throwback, like definitely takes you back. But then after the first, so it's broken up into several sections. After the first session ended, my daughter, she was like, "Mom, this is some good information." She was like, "I'm going to write extra notes. I'm going to put one in my room and I'm going to put the other one in my binder." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I knew that, there were some parts that, you may not like think is awesome, but overall that information is terrific for you." And what was great about it, it talked about what it takes to be a successful student. It said it takes 3 things.
I like it.
The first is motivation. The second is self-worth. And the third is it takes study skills. So the self-worth part was like they had shared quotes, and she was like, "Oh, I like that. Pause it.
Ooh,
so I just
get that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to share it with you because I loved how she connected with it. And she saw herself and she saw information as, hey, all of this doesn't apply to me, but there are certain things that definitely apply to me, and I need to take hold of this. And I saw that, and it told me that I'm so glad that I made the choice to share this information with her. It just reaffirmed my feelings that this was the right time to teach this lesson and this course about study skills. So, just as a parent, in those middle school years, around that puberty change, when, your body starts changing, it's very difficult to have that body confidence.
Yeah.
Or just confidence in general. And when you have, coming from the perspective of study skills, like I really wouldn't have equated the two, but it was awesome how it was intertwined together in a positive way. And so it's something that I recommend because I saw it as helpful for my girls, and I'm sure that you guys would, there's some good information. So it may not all apply to you, but I'm sure that something definitely applies.
Well, thank you for the inspiration, because you had me sitting here thinking I really should do this for her. My oldest, she could really benefit from that. For myself, I will be honest, I do not know how to study. I'm going to tell you why. Because I've never really had to do it. So, I'm not bragging, but things come easy for me. I don't have to put much effort into recalling lessons, into regurgitating lessons. It's just easy for me. And I know that is not the case for everyone. It's not the case for my oldest daughter. And I find myself struggling in trying to give her some of those tools because I don't really have them because it's not something that I've ever really had to do. Reading a book with a highlighter real quick was enough to get me a B, if not an A. That's not everybody. So I was thinking, man, I might have to outsource this to OutSchool or something for study skills because I really don't have that information to share. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. So
well, I got you.
I'm going to get that video from you. And
Yeah.
we're going to work this out because I think that she could definitely benefit from that. And then, you know, you're talking about the confidence booster there. I think that's absolutely excellent. Who doesn't need a little boost every now and again? Even the most confident man in the world.
Right. So what's new, the reason why I thought this was so important to do with my daughters is because what's new for them is that this year they will be taking 9 classes away from home at a co-op. So that's a lot of classes, but I think it's going to be, they're excited. I'm sure there's a little bit of anxiety around being away from home, but for the most part, I mean, one of my kids, she's just ready.
Oh yes, jump right in. Like, yes, bye, Mom.
She was ready last year. But her sister, she was like, yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I'm sure she's going to do well. And she was the one who really enjoyed the video. He was like,
I knew that's who you were talking about. I can see because she's just that kind of person.
She was like, these are valuable tips.
Yeah, she has an older soul. She's much like myself, a little grandma. I can see her, you know, really holding on to that and it really having an impact on her. I'm glad.
Yeah, and I just think it's time. You know, there are certain situations. So anybody who meets me, they always think I'm so comfortable around people. But to be very honest with you guys, when I was young, when I was her age, I would say 12 and younger, even 13 and younger, I really struggled with self-confidence and speaking out to other people. And even talking to people who weren't in my family, I was very shy, very introverted, just, you know, stay to myself. I like to draw, color, just a book person. I just wasn't into people a whole lot. And it's funny because things did change for me. And I was put in situations in public school or, you know, in private school where I had to learn how to be comfortable around people who were just in all kinds of different situations. And the more I did that, the more I became comfortable wherever I was. So now, if you meet me, you're like, oh my gosh, she is so not an introvert. At times, depending, you know, because I do get people overload at times where it's like, oh gosh, I need to retreat to my own space. But for the most part, I feel confident and comfortable when I am away from home. And so it's funny to people because they're often like, when they meet my 2 daughters, one is more like you and one is more like your husband, because my husband is very introverted.
To the max.
Right, he is. And the other child, she's just outgoing, talk to anybody, just super comfortable. And that's me now, but it wasn't me when I was a kid. And I often tell people that, well, she's me as an adult, but her sister is more like me as a kid. And I know that she can overcome her shyness if she is put in situations where she has to confront it. Now, is it going to change her personality? No. But it will allow her to thrive in situations that aren't within her comfort zone. And I think that's super important. So as a homeschool parent, that's of course where my heart is, but I'm allowing her to take these classes and be in this situation because I need her to thrive in all settings, not just in a home setting. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm putting them in the classes. And I think, you know, I'm not going to be far away. There were definitely a lot for me to choose from, and I I ended up going with the one that was closer because if I need to go,
Right.
I will be able to go there without a problem. And the other ones were like 45 minutes away. In traffic, it would be a little bit more than an hour. And that was like, that's not even feasible for the first year, for the first time. I just don't think I should do that to them, and I really shouldn't do it to myself.
Right, because if there's an emergency, you need to be able to be on the good foot. Ain't no
Right.
good foot for no hour drive.
Right. And also, if you are coming from a homeschool environment and you are not a person that's used to traffic, now I hear about homeschoolers traveling to co-ops like an hour and a half. I'm not that mom.
Nope.
I'm not even gonna lie. I know my limitations.
No.
And traffic, like I do not want me and my kids to be in traffic for like 2 hours a day. To me, that is some wasted time. Like I could think of a million other things they could be doing. Right. Sure, you can listen to books. You can listen to the classics. Like there are things you can make that time productive. But for me, it's like that's added stress in my life, and I'm not about that life.
Yeah. No.
So that would be a no for me. But yeah, so it's gonna be a new year. So with this podcast, we're gonna share our ups and downs, what we've learned from the situation, and I know for you. Can you kind of tell a little bit about what you envision for this year? What changes will be? What are you going to keep the same?
Okay, so this year, a lot of times, I'm a really free spirit, and so I just kind of freehand a lot of things, but I have a few more responsibilities on my plate now, and so freehanding it is not really efficient. So I got a digital curriculum for my first grader, and it is called Blossom and Root. She's really enjoying it so far. My only thing that I don't care so much about it is that it doesn't have it's not, the math curriculum is not as mathy as I would like for it to be. So they're exploring math through art. So you'll look at a particular painting and let's see the squares inside this painting.
So it's geometry.
Well, these are just the early lessons are on shapes. And I'm like, okay, you're wasting my time here. You're wasting her time there. So I plan on using that just for the art itself. We can point out some shapes and things like that, but that's not a replacement to me for math. I don't care if you're counting the vertices. I mean, I don't know. It seems a little preschooly to me. But yeah, but it's a science. The science is excellent. Oh, she's really loving the science. And the language arts, they're using what is this lady's name, Clara Dillingham something. She has a series of books, Among the Meadow People, Among the Forest People, Among the Pond People, and so we're reading stories from there and kind of analyzing them, talking about them. It comes with a little word list. So she's enjoying that so far, and the fact that it's giving me, what to do. We signed up for Math Mammoth, and I have a little planner, and it's giving me what to do on each day. Even though it really is just an outline, doesn't mean that's exactly how we're going to go. It's just the bones, and I can build around that so that I can stay on track and continue to keep up with some of these newfound responsibilities that I have. We are using Funcation Academy for my oldest daughter, it's online, but you're still the proprietor. You have to go in and see the lessons, give the lessons. It does have like a little tutorial thing. It'll read things. It's got nice little pictures and things, but it similar to the blossom and root. It's telling me here's what you do on this day, boom. So even if we don't stick to it, we still have the bones are there. So I'm trying to simplify things. I'm trying to make room for the things that I need for my own development. And I'm trying to make sure that I give them what they need for their development. We're using, I think it's from Child First Publications. Child First, yes. I'm using that for my 4-year-old who is really fighting me on getting some of the academics. He knows more than he wants me to know that he knows. And they slip out every now and again. And he looks at me like, oops, yeah, I caught you. You know what this is, or you know what that is. And I'm watching his language develop, and I can see that he's there, but he just doesn't want to. Everything has to be a game. He wants to play, and yet more play. Which is fine, but there are times when, we got to sit still and do something that's not quite as upbeat of play as you would like. So we're using that for him. The alphabet, they have a book with stories that surround each letter, and they've used real life objects that look like the letter. So the A is an anthill and a apple with a stick up against it. The story of this big bug that burrowed through a anthill, and the ants were mad, and so he decides, well, I'm going to fix this, and so he brought in an apple for them to eat, and then it started to roll away, and he put a stick up against the apple to keep it from rolling away. So now you have the big A and the little A, and you can see because he burrowed through the anthill. And so the F looks like a flag, the U looks like a upside down umbrella from Uncle Yule. So it's association based, a visual based. It also it's from the same folk who do. Oh wait, no, that's something different. Never mind. Handwriting Without Tears, Learning Without Tears, whatever it's called.
Is Handwriting Without Tears?
Yes, I've using the alphabet mat, so he can take the shapes and move them around to create the letters, so he can get his movement on, because he's really into movement and the motor skills. I've gotten some dauber letters and things. So he's progressing quickly, and the baby's just following because he wants to do everything he sees everybody else do. So everything this year is really new. None of this stuff is anything that I've ever done before or ever tried. This is the second week for us, so far so good.
Sounds good. I think something new that we've talked about before is online curriculums. And this time you have several online curriculums. So hopefully that will just continue, because that's something that they can do on their own, right?
I mean, technically it is something that they can do on their own, but not for Little Miss.
Okay.
That one's really hands-on. I can't lie, I'm thoroughly enjoying it myself.
That's the blossom and root. Okay.
Yeah. So it's PDFs that it actually, and I happened to catch it on sale. I was excited.
Yes, sales are good.
Got it on sale, and so I saved. I don't even know, 25% or something, whatever. If it was a quarter, I'm smiling. So when I got it, I think I looked at it maybe like 2 weeks before, and I kind of laid out how the order of things, and it's really easy to follow. So I just have to read with her. She can read the stories herself, but it's much more fun if I read it. I'm not gonna lie, because I do voices and characters and things. And the other one is like full on the computer.
Oh, okay.
And so she could do it herself, but I step in because I want to make things more concrete, add emphasis where I know emphasis needs to be placed. It does have worksheets that you can print out. It gives you but it gives you actual lesson plans. It gives you diagnostic tests. What you say?
That's good.
Yes, it is. Just so you have an idea of where
your child is.
Right. So some of her diagnostics came in a little bit low, but I know it's not because she doesn't know the information. It's because she spent half the summer away, and we weren't doing review like I had intended on doing review. Light review. So it's just, picking the cobwebs out of the corners. And she's like, why do I have to do this again? I was like, well, because you forgot.
Right. And I think you just talking about that brings up a point that we can kind of share when starting back and getting back into the thick of things. Some families just go straight through. And they homeschool year round and maybe take a week off here, for a vacation or not. But they don't do like long time, like, 2-3 months with a full break. But if you do take a break, it's like, for me, I like to ease them in and, start reviewing. I like to start with reviews and asking questions, maybe doing some handwriting, because that's just stuff that they didn't necessarily, like, we need a refresher. And just, not putting a full 8-hour day on it, or however long you homeschool, 4 hours or whatever. Not doing that for a long time, but doing, making it, do this page, or, just going over it, because you want to make sure that your kids, when you start the new year, you want to make sure that they really have a grasp of what they were doing before. Because if you just jump into it because they're in, it's another year, new grade, let's just do this, and you don't review, sometimes there will be gaps in the system, and you'll find that they're falling further behind than being where they need to be. So it's better, in my experience, to review.
Yeah, I agree. Fill in those holes early, because having to, it's like you're filling a cup and you get an air bubble in it. Then you kind of have to dig away to get to the air bubble so you can fill it in. Yeah, I agree. Get it out of the way early. So she's a little blown by the fact that she's redoing, or I'll say reviewing, certain topics. But I'd much rather it be now than later, because later on I'm going to be looking at you like, well, what happened? All right, wait a minute. So now I have to go back and find stuff, and it inconveniences everyone.
I also believe repetition deepens their impression. So my kids are going to take some classes where I feel like they know how to do the work, but I want to make sure they know how to do that work so well that they can get it done so quickly where there are no questions. Because I feel like if you can review to that level where it's just quick rapid recall, that's to me very important, because when they do get to that age where they have to take a standardized test or something, then it won't be so overwhelming. Because I really hope that they do away with them by the time they have to go to college, but the likelihood is
It'll still be here.
It'll still be around in some form. So, really honing in on that repetition and making sure they have that information is important. So review is not a problem. It is helpful.
Can I just say that you brought that up? A friend of mine who was a teacher, we were talking about this, how she was saying that one of her sons was very put off by the time test. And my other friend was saying that her daughter was having the same issue. She knows the information. I think they might have been like addition facts or something like that. She was like, she knows these things, but you set her down in the front of this sheet of paper and put a timer on her, you'd be looking at her like, what's wrong with her? I understand, some of these things are real world needs. Yes, you need to know how to add, subtract, divide, and multiply. Must. But let's be for real. Do you really need to be able to call these things off lickety split? No. It's handy to be able to do so. But 9 times out of 10, someone's life is not hanging in the balance while you figure out what 263 minus 42 is.
Well, it could.
I'm not saying that it wouldn't. That's what I said. But
usually it's not.
Yes, in most instances, there's no rush. But I think that with today's society being what it is, we expect everything to happen
instantly. Yeah,
just like when you Google something and the screen stays blank for 2 seconds and you're like, oh, something's wrong. It was 2 seconds. It sounds like my son telling my son, Mom, what's taking so long? And you just asked me 1 breath ago, can you give me a cup of water? Well, daggone, can I rise my behind off the seat?
Right. So, we have to be mindful of that and don't put our expectations of timeliness on our kids, because I think that is a hang up that often troubles a homeschool.
Yeah.
Because some of us are overachievers.
Mm-hmm.
And because we were overachievers, we just automatically expect our kids to be overachievers, and sometimes that's not always the case. And I've had to check myself and try to be more patient.
Yeah, because like I said, I think to myself, does it really have to be done this way? Does it really have to be done this fast? Does it really have to go in this order? Usually the answer is no.
All right. Okay, then. So, any closing thoughts?
Well, yes. Are there anything? Well, no. I'm just excited for what's coming. I think that it's going to be a good school year.
Yay!
I think that real progress, different progress. Let me not say real progress. I think that different kind of progress is coming to my home this year. I'm really excited to see all the things that, come into fruition. It's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely. So we want you guys to visit the show notes page. I know that you talked about several curriculums. We are going to put links to those curriculums, write down their names so that you guys can check those out on your own in your spare time as well. So definitely share this podcast with a friend. Let other people know that we are talking about educating our children. So even if you're not a homeschooler and you want to supplement, this information is just good for all parents. So share it with a friend. And definitely, if you have questions, let us know. Connect with us because we want to hear from you. We do this podcast for you. This is a way for us to support our community and give back. So allow us to support you.